Welcome, no question about that. This is the Weekend Pod. We're about 24 hours on from Manchester United's victory over Chelsea. Daniel, we're back.
We are. We're always back.
Always back. Yes,
yeah,
this
like,
is our
that
year.
old joke. What's always coming but never arrives, and the answer's tomorrow.
Yeah,
but it was a joke I used to tell that would be Arsenal's next league title.
Right.
But we could just as well say United's revival at this point.
Yeah, I mean it's really hard to pin much on victory over Chelsea, isn't it? Because I mean it was changed by the very early red card and then Casemiro's red card and everyone just adapting to that kind of stuff rather than us going, okay, this is truly a revival. But
it's funny you say that, because when the red card happened, part of me was disappointed. Obviously, there's part of me that's going, fucking game off! So there's that bit of me.
That was Fergie.
Fergie, yeah, there's the Fergie bit of me. Because also, I'm not sure Mbumo was getting that ball, but I thought it was a 3-game ban. Like, that's a high tackle. You've come out really quick. You're in no control. It's like you get a 1-game ban for that. Chelsea are either lucky because he comes back after one or unlucky because he's wank, whichever the two it is. But part of me was also disappointed because I thought, well, we've started this game really well. I want to see us play a proper game of football. And because of the red card, that sort of didn't happen. I also think that the other thing that we didn't say is Chelsea are wank. And I'm not just saying that because they're tired from the Club World Cup, in which they produced one really excellent performance to win it. Credit where it's due. Against the knackered Paris, but still, excellent performance. But when I look at it, and I think Chelsea have got a million players that go in and out, and I think there are obviously players that we could buy that would make our team better because we're not that good. But if I was shopping to build a team, I can't think of very many I'd be taking from there. And what they don't have, I think even we do have, they've got Palmer, but apart from Cole Palmer, they don't have any star quality, really. I actually think we've got better attackers than they do.
Yeah, I mean, this is their policy writ large, isn't it? I mean, they've just churned out so many players over the last 3 years since the takeover. It's really hard to actually keep up with who's in their team. Sounds very boomery, not boomery. Boomery, doesn't it? But they've just changed so many players out.
I think, still.
Yeah.
Colin Pates. Paul Cannaville.
They dropped £1 billion in 3 years, basically. And I look at the team and I go, where the hell's that billion? I mean, we've dropped 1.23 or whatever it is since Fergie left. And you look at the team and go, where's that billion plus gone? Which is about where our debt lands at the moment, by the way. You dig into all of that. Just as a quick aside, nearly £500 million worth of transfer commitments. I mean, it's 400 and whatever change, but if you add up all the add-ons, it comes to about 500 million. That's £500 million of debt as well, and the credit card facility. Well over £1 billion we owe. Great stuff, lads. Good stuff.
Well done.
Yeah. But anyway, Chelsea are wank.
So
you're right.
What did you make of the team?
Well, I was disappointed and expected and disappointed because I just want him to go much more attacking. I think it's one of the things I feel, alongside the dreadful results in aggregate of 9 games, whatever he's had so far. I think one of his tendencies is to go just a little bit defensive. I mean, at least he didn't play Ugarte. I guess that's my one thing. But yeah, Mazraoui actually had a decent game yesterday. But I just feel like it's such a limiting factor when the importance of wing-backs is so high in this team. You have Dorgu, who's got no end product, and Mazraoui can't get up and down. Them being the focal point of the attack so often, like the extra man, it actually increased the emphasis on that once Arsenal had a man sent off, because suddenly United had all these defending players pushing really high up the pitch, like doing the creative bit. So I was kind of disappointed in that, but I come to expect that from Amorim. Now, I think we've got a very basic form of football, right, which is fairly cautious and hitting a lot of long balls. I think we're league leading for long balls.
Wimblechester.
Yeah.
I don't mind the long ball, especially when it's a long pass, and we'll come to it. I think the thing that I was...
And that is what it is mostly. I don't think it's just hoofing it like Wimbledon 80s style, but it's a conscious tactical approach to bypass midfield.
Yeah, I was I guess that also makes sense when you don't have one, but I didn't expect him to take Yoro out. I mean, I feel like he's been itching to get Maguire in and hasn't really found a way of doing it. But it felt like if I was picking someone to blame for City and to punish them by taking their job away, it would have been Shaw, who I thought played really well yesterday, as it happens.
He did. A Mayor against City, yeah, for sure.
But I thought, yeah, why is he doing that? And I mean, I guess I knew it would be Casemiro, but there's part of me that's starting to get a bit pissed off with the manager, actually, in a way. I mean, not because what I'm kind of thinking is this, that you're the manager of Manchester United. You're the first manager in at least 20 years, maybe since before that with the PLC, and maybe almost ever, where the board's focus is on winning. It's not like when it's a PLC, the focus legally must be on returning value to shareholders, which relates to winning. And similarly under the Glazers, the focus is paying the debt and taking money out. Again, not unaffected by winning, but it's not the primary objective. Ruben Amorim has a board that actually want United to win. Like, that's why they're in this. They're not there to take money out. They're there for United to win. And no one's had that in probably 3 decades almost. And you want to make United great again, and you're going to sacrifice it for a system. Like, almost, like, if I was being that much of a prick at work, I'd expect my wife to come in and save me. What is Mrs. Amorim doing? And it's just it's starting to wind me up a bit. Not the football, not because the football's crap. He's not picking my favourite, best ever fucking players, but just you've got this amazing opportunity just for you in your personal life. Or your professional life, or your professional fulfilment that involves making United great again. You make yourself a legend, and you're cutting off your own dick because you're more attached to these whack principles of play. Because it's not even the formation really. In that, I don't like the formation, but it's not the 3-4-3 that Conte won the league with. It's not the 3-4-3 that Glasner's playing. And I do have problems with the 3-4-3. Yeah. I don't like the way it leaves you undermanned centrally and out wide. Although obviously the idea is that the system finds ways of covering for both those, so you end up overloading in both those areas. But the principles of the way you're trying to bring about this formation are going to cost you your job perhaps at some point, almost definitely by the looks of things. Or because you think that this, and I don't want to call it a system exactly because it's not about the formation, but let's just call it a system and say that we mean everything that is encompassed in the way that he wants United to play. And then it doesn't work, and then we think, well, okay, let him get some more of his own players, whatever. And then you keep doing the same thing over and over again, as though the only antidote to the fact that United is shit is the players understanding what he wants better and doing it better. And yes, I kind of got the hump with it a bit now. And I mean, I think yesterday we saw some good stuff. I thought we're getting good at starting the games properly, which is something we've been rubbish at in the post-Fergie era. Question whether that's sustainable, and actually once the opposition starts slowing the game down, and we saw it with City. I thought the first 20, the first 30, United looked good, looked physically superior. It's quite an even game. But then once the opposition start getting a bit of control and taking the heat out of the game, even fucking Fulham did it. United lacked that ability to do that. And now part of this might not be Amorim's fault, in that I think The Athletic reported that he wanted a midfield player and Wilcox overruled him and bought Šeško. So it's not that isn't his fault. And either way, he definitely wanted a midfield player and wasn't given one. So I do have some element of sympathy with him, but I also think that in order to make the two-man midfield work in the Premier League, you need maybe players that don't even fucking exist in world football almost.
Well, yeah, quite. I think so, yeah, because you're right in saying it's nothing like Glasner's 3-4-3, and nothing like Conte's either, which is, or if anything, even more vertical. But I share the same annoyance, right? That he is not he won't sand down the edges of his kind of formation at all, or his kind of principles, definitely not the formation, in order to get the best out of the players we've got. It's that assessment, which I've repeated on here previously, that Liverpool looked at him and decided not, because he'd need all his own players, right? It has come true, right? He needs all his own players in order to make this work perfectly.
I think that's a little bit harsh, in that we needed more or less a new team anyway.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Before he comes in, who do you actually want to keep out of that lot?
Sure. And I'm not actually even disagreeing that maybe this is actually the strategy, which is just over a 3-year period, swap out the entire squad, right? That may well be what the club have agreed to, and it seems unsustainable unless United are back in European competition very quickly. right, in terms of the numbers. But they restructured the whole executive management team, technical director, football director, analytics, health, everything in order to support Amorim and do the thing that Ratcliffe said when he came in, which is we'll put the right structure around the manager. Then they've dropped £200 million on him last January and this summer, and they are publicly backing him. And in the end, if he's so, I don't know whether stubborn is the right word, or so tightly bound to his principles that he sacrifices the good of the team for that, then he will be out of a job. Not that I'm saying I want it right now, but it's definitely a frustration that I think we could have got better quicker if he had compromised in some places.
And it's also, I don't feel like, and we'll discuss this more fully in the tactics pod, but I'm not asking for massive tweaks, really. Like, play your 3-4-1-2, play 2-4-2, play it. But you need to find a way of getting your midfielders on the ball so that it's not just the wing backs expected to do everything. And you need to sort out the out of possession stuff so that the opponents don't have a free run, whether it's, and I think we saw a bit 4-4-2 out of possession. I mean, this isn't my expertise really. I felt we saw a bit of 4-4-2 out of possession yesterday rather than was it 5-3-1-5 or whatever the fuck it was before that. And one thing I thought also was, De Ligt was excellent yesterday. I mean, I'm sure we all noticed that he played well. Partly he's good in the rear guard, and that was a bit of what that was. But in the
second half especially,
First half he's getting forward, he's playing almost as a right back, and that's where I felt like maybe we did change the shape a little bit. That it was more of a 4-4-2 out of possession with him, the man who's moving, and he's getting the jumping right, I think. And there was, and I mean, Amorim asked for aggression, and he got it. I guess, like it felt like the goal when we scored it was coming, which was nice to see. And then we sat on them afterwards as well. Like, we carried on, and I thought that was quite good. I mean, even before the game, Gary Cahill was on Sky, and he's going on about how much he fancies Chelsea, and it's just, I genuinely, I couldn't see it, and that's not me thinking that United are good. I promise you, it's not me going United are well good. It's just that I don't really see this Chelsea team. And also, they played Munich in midweek, had some moments, still got beat. But then to turn up at Old Trafford and be good in the pissing rain, it just felt unlikely. Still
very hard to go get any big picture out of this, because they were down to 10 men after 5 minutes, because Robert Sanchez had a bit of a moment, didn't he? So any arguments about that being a red? I mean, it's borderline dogso, but it's like not even really borderline violent conduct, is it? I mean, he got the dog. It was the dogso rather than the violent conduct he was sent off for, as you mentioned. But it was very, very high.
It was a ridiculous tackle. I mean, it's just
not quite Joel Schumacher on whoever it was.
Harold Tony Schumacher.
Tony, yeah.
But it was a real what on earth are you doing at that stage of the game? We've seen how United have started. It's just so unlikely. But it was also tremendous to watch Maresca then shit the bed.
Amazing. What did you make of his 67 substitutions? I guess did he get 4 substitution windows? Because I was counting them up. It was 3. Then he made another one. Did you get an extra one if your goalkeeper gets sent off? Is that one of the loopholes?
I didn't know that, but it's possible.
He changed his formation more times yesterday than Amorim has in his entire United career to date. So it was, he panicked completely, took all his attackers off.
It's like, it reminded me a bit of what Fergie did when Raphael gets sent off against Bayern in 2010, and you're watching it thinking, you've got no outball. Maybe Palmer was injured. I mean, I guess Palmer was thought to be injured, but the way to play with 10 men isn't just to defend the box. It's to defend the box, but you still got to attack in numbers. Mm-hmm. And it felt like he took that possibility away, really, because even when it gets evened up later on, it's 10 against 10. They still had nothing for us, really. A few crosses.
They had a lot of possession, and it was interesting that I thought Amorim, after United got down to 10, it's still even, basically went into 10v11 mode and conceded a lot of territory to Chelsea. You didn't have anything. They barely created a chance, did they, Chelsea, at the end? But
that we've seen a lot in the post-Fergie era, where United retreat and they end up conceding. See it so many times. I remember one particular that wound me up against Chelsea. It was a Stamford Bridge. Lingard scores for United, and then United sit back, and I behind the goal thinking, you can't defend, you fuckers. Why are you doing this? And when you look at this team, the strength is going forward. So obviously, like, don't be stupid, but you're playing a team with 10 men. Obviously, we got 10 too, but they're a man short, and when you attack, they should feel the man shortness much more than we do, and try and score another goal. I mean, the substitution at half-time is fucking ridiculous. Why are you taking Sesko off?
It didn't make any sense to me. That, I mean, obviously you had to bring a midfielder on, so a change has to happen, but either go to 4-4-2 or 4-4-1, as most managers would do, or pull Ahmad off would have made more sense, because there was no focal point then at all, right? That's why 72% possession for Chelsea in the second half. Now, they may not have done much with it, but that's because United just said, here, have the ball.
And also, right? The threat in behind, the attacking, defending in the boxes, it just made no sense. And he brings on Ugarte, someone we all know is shit, or at least hasn't played well for United yet. So what are you anticipating will change? It brings me back to that point that I made before, where I'm thinking, you're winning 2-0, both 10v10. Why would you not bring, if you're bringing the midfielder on at that point, I'd bring Mainu on, because he's someone who can keep the ball and give you some control, as you just said. And it just makes no sense, that kind of behaviour. And I mean, I find his subs baffling in general. So last week, when we're chasing a goal v City, he takes off Yoro and brings on Maguire, and what happens? Maguire gets burned up by Haaland, who has to run from the halfway line with Maguire huffing and puffing behind him. There's not a chance Yoro doesn't catch him, because he's got the ball. Maguire can't, but Yoro would have caught him. And then yesterday, when you know that you're going to be defending the box, Yoro's not great at marking from set pieces, which is where their goal comes from. And I don't think Maguire's brilliant at this. I mean, I know his PR encourages us to say, he's amazing in both boxes. He fucking isn't. But in that circumstance, if you're offering me Maguire, who's already warm and in the game, versus Yoro, then and it's going okay as is. It's not like, gosh, Maguire's about to drop a bollock here. I just can't understand. And part of me is like,
he does this a lot.
So is it because the centre backs have to jump a lot and carry the ball?
I've heard this argument.
More running than you would think. I don't buy it, but I'm just trying to fathom it from his perspective.
I wish someone would ask him, actually. Maybe we can prompt a friend of the show, Carl Anker, to ask this question. He likes asking the tactical ones. I'd like to know whether it is that fitness thing and he wants sharp players at the end to continue the jumping. But we weren't actually really pressing very aggressively in this game in the second half either, right? We'd kind of, as I said, retreated into 10v11 mode instead. But yeah, it is a quirk. Yoro got caught between two players on the set piece, didn't he? And so there should have been another player in that zone. It's his fault because he's in between them and can't get anywhere near it. And the one part of his data that doesn't stack up is the aerials. That has been recognised as a weakness, I think, something to improve, something you can coach. But another player should have followed him in there. It's funny,
really, because I was literally when we're 2-0 up and pissing all over them, I was thinking, how are we going to fuck this up? What is it going to be? And do you know what? I felt like a bit of an idiot afterwards, because Casemiro's been booked at this point, and it was actually extremely obvious. It wasn't even a difficult question. You can predict the fuck up so effectively, and I mean, it was an absolutely fucking mental second booking, to the point where I feel like I'm almost struggling to say, at his age, with his experience, he should know better.
Well, he should know better, but he doesn't know better, because that's his fourth red card, which was very unlucky. But
the second tackle was okay. Incidentally, Haaland's just run from halfway again and scored against Arsenal.
Right.
As we speak.
The second tackle, he gets a ball. I mean, I guess he's booked for the pull on the shirt at the same time.
Every foul is a booking.
Yeah.
And then when you see the stuff that Fernandes and what's his name, dickhead with the hair, whose name escapes me for a second, from Brighton. Why can't I remember that he played for Getafe and not remember his name? Cucurella.
Okay.
So both Cucurella and Fernandes could both have been sent off for much worse than anything Casemiro did. And when you see that stuff, it's very hard to understand the mentality of the ref and the mentality of VAR.
And Enzo Fernandez as well, when in all studs up and caught Fernandes on the boot. If it had been 2 inches higher, that would have been a very, very easy call for a red there. Yeah. The referee, I felt like, kind of lost control a bit towards the end. I'm surprised it didn't end up with one team on 9.
Yeah,
because he was dishing out cards. But
I'm just looking. I've got Fernandez red written in my notes here. It's just It was a ridiculous tackle.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's very chaotic, this game. So again, hard to draw any lines towards anything else. I mean, if you look at United's, one thing I was going to bring up, someone DM'd me, is United's rolling XG now is quite high. It's a big switch over. Now, game state has played a part in the game against Arsenal, where they were just happy to concede territory, and we got a lot of low value shots, right? But high enough XG. And then the City game, where we put on 1.5 XG after we were 3-0 down.
And also, if you have a lot of shots, the XG keeps mounting, but you haven't actually had very many good chances. I'd say
that's the problem. Yeah,
XG definitely. If you look at when it comes to one game, I feel like the eye test is much better than XG.
Yeah. Well, XG is an aggregate model anyway.
It's a model for when you want to understand some data about a lot of games that you haven't watched, I'd say. Because I know that I was watching that City game thinking, more or less what Amorim said, up to the box, quite good. Not a fucking clue thereafter. And also, and Bumo misses a chance from under the bar at 3-0, so that's a lot of our XG. And it had absolutely no bearing on the outcome of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I do have an Mbumo song.
Go on. Does he have one yet?
No.
He doesn't.
It just came to me while I was watching. I'd say written is very strong, because you're about to discover. But I was watching the game yesterday, and so I found myself going, Boomo, da-da-dum, Boomo, da-da-dum, Boomo, da-da, Boomo, hey, yeah.
Does anyone else have that? It's whatever it is. Weezer. No, it's not Weezer. Doo-wop or whatever. Yeah.
No, Hansen.
Hansen, that's it. Hansen. I knew it was a bit late. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the whole Stretford them doing falsetto is something that we can all warm to.
Yeah, I think people do a hernia trying it.
You'll be in the baritone section. You'll be in the baritones. I'll be the soprano.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Back to the substitutions, though, because something is still bothering me, that it's not just even the tactical thing, actually, I don't think. It's the message it sends to the players. So when you take off Sesko, what are you saying to him? Like, you've had an all right first half, you've contributed to a goal, starting to put yourself about. Are we saying, don't trust you? And we're saying to the players, don't trust you to see out 2-0, 10 against 10 at home against a team that played in midweek and have been absolutely
exactly what he said.
And he knows that this isn't what United are meant to do, because he said it last season that he wouldn't be playing like this. But there's a bit of a joylessness about the way that he seems to want the games to go. And I know he's trying to keep his job, but I also don't feel that change Ugart for Sesko was just the best way of winning the game.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I thought that was the wrong substitution. A few of them were, and generally speaking, I think there's a lot of bafflement with his subs. I mean, I do wonder, he's obviously under a lot of pressure. It kind of does show, I think. He knows he's got to get results. I don't know what that meeting with Sir Jim this week said. He joked about it being about a new contract. I'm sure that the club are looking at European qualification, ideally at least the Europa, as being very important this season, just from a financial perspective. So I'm sure he's under some kind of pressure. I said it last time, there's that report this week that his compensation dropped significantly after his first anniversary. So he's under a lot of pressure. He'll be looking at those next 5 games up until the international break in November as right, pretty significant. And who could not, right? He's human. He wants to keep his job. He seems happy at United and all that.
And yet, if you look at the game this season, like narrowed home defeat to Arsenal, quite not unlucky, except because you can't say it was like it's bad play, but still played quite well. And the away draw at Fulham, the game they should have finished early doors, not disgraceful. Then lose to City, win at home to Burnley, lose to City, beat Chelsea. It's not dreadful.
No, I mean, it's coloured by the Grimsby result, obviously, which truly was dreadful. But yeah, you could point to some underlying data, as I said, that looks positive. The string of results, the City and Arsenal losses you could write off as being, the two best sides in the country last year, or two of the three best sides in the country. So yeah, of course you can make that argument, but it's Brentford away next, and then Forest and Sunderland and Spurs or whatever it is until the international break.
It's Brentford and Sunderland before internationals.
Brentford, Sunderland, yeah.
So yeah, if we win those two,
then it's going to look a lot more positive, sure. And we shouldn't. I mean, of course, we shouldn't judge game to game. It's hard not to when it gets into sort of crisis mode. And United are perpetually in crisis mode, and you want to see the results in aggregate. But it's like the trend line. Is it going in the right way or not? Are we playing better football yet?
Yes. Yeah, I think
sort of. Yeah. I mean, it could be worse than last season, but is it good football? I'm not sure about that yet, but yeah. So I don't know exactly where we are. I mean, it's not. At this point, I think they give him more time because he's their project and he should get more time. I'm not seeing a lot of things that are kind of obviously pointing towards this team being lots better quicker, right? We haven't put together a good full 90 minutes under him, have we? Maybe a couple in the Europe Athletic Sociedad games where we...
The Sociedad game at home.
Sociedad game at home was pretty good, yeah.
Until only after they scored. But then, that was excellent, actually. But he even himself explained it, and I kind of appreciated that about him. He just was physically we're dominant. And this is, I would say, the biggest change with him, is that we're not getting outrun and we're not getting outmuscled anymore.
Yeah.
And that was very necessary, and that has been addressed, that we're now not a physical pushover.
Yeah. All right. I wanted to mention the women's team.
That's
before
just finished.
They're playing right now as we speak.
Finished 0-0.
Oh, it's finished. 0-0. Finished 0-0. Okay. But the women's team also qualified the Champions League. It's a slightly different format. It's still Swiss league format, but you only play 6 games rather than 8. But it's kind of a landmark moment really for the women's team to qualify for the Champions League, and especially since they haven't invested anywhere near, like financially speaking, Chelsea and Arsenal have, who keep breaking transfer records and so on. But big step forward for the women's team. It'll help financially on that side of things, since the club overall is not pumping additional cash into that club. But that's positive news there, at least. Everyone moans about Mark Skinner week by week still.
Yeah, I watched some of this game, and there weren't a lot of chances in what I saw, and Arsenal the better team, but Arsenal champions of Europe ultimately. Words that we don't luckily have to say very often when talking about the men's team.
And dropped £1 million on a new forward this summer, world record transfer.
Yeah, well that's it, isn't it? They and Chelsea have been able to take United's best players away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and City took one this summer, although I think everyone's happy with the signing of Jess Park. Yeah. We'll see how. I don't know whether I've seen the actual draw for the Champions League yet in terms of who United get. It will. I may have missed that one.
They are playing Paris, I think.
Yeah.
Or was it Lyon? I know it's one of the good French teams. I can't remember who the other team is. I've forgotten. I did look.
Top analysis, lads.
Old age is a terrible thing,
isn't it? Just
yeah.
All right. The financial results, if people didn't catch it, we did a deep dive with Jamie last week. United are in a fairly good position, I'd say, financially, given, there's just massive amounts of debt, as I said earlier, transfer debt at over 400 million, a couple hundred million of which is due in the next 12 months, which is awesome. And then, but the actual underlying data looks good if United qualify from Europe. Can United qualify for Europe?
Yes.
Do you think that is likely?
Likely different question, but it's wide open. None of these teams are any good. Liverpool are probably going to win the league. They aren't even all that good. And you just don't know. There's about 8 or 9 teams probably that could finish anywhere in that top sort of... the league champions will be one of Liverpool, City and Arsenal. Mm-hmm. And the other 2 will probably finish in the top 3. But 4th to about 10th is wide open, and you just don't know. If United can start scoring goals, and then I'd back them to finish at least in the Europa League. But we don't know. Like we're all right at not conceding loads, but you need to get to a point where you're scoring twice in every game. And I think Cunha will make a difference to that. That was the good change he made yesterday. When you're defending a lead, bring on a ball carrier. Yes, get behind that. But yeah, until he sorts the midfield out, then we just don't know, and we don't know if he's going to even be able to sort the midfield out. I guess he might get someone in January.
Might do.
Seems like Balaba's doing his best to tank his value.
Yeah. We should drop in a really low bid and threaten to ruin another of their players. Just mind games United have played there. It's brilliant. Yeah,
clever.
He's been dreadful this season, by the way. Brighton not been very good. They're one of the teams obviously finished ahead of us and would be chasing European football last season. Forest have made an absolutely bizarre managerial change. Newcastle lost their best forward, and the new guys haven't quite settled in yet. We'll see how they shake out. Villa have. Yeah, they drew Bournemouth today. Villa have had a really poor start to the season, finally scored a goal. So, I mean, you're right, it's wide open from 4th to 10th.
They drew with 10 men.
Yeah.
Having a long time to play against 10 men. Villa are almost out of it already.
Yeah.
I mean, they're miles behind even us.
Yeah. Brentford, who obviously finished above us last season, have changed out, lost their 2 best players and changed out the manager. So, I mean, there's a lot of weaknesses in that kind of middle bracket of teams. And so it is wide open. I'm sure that Wilcox and Barada and Ratcliffe kind of know this as well, which is, I don't know whether that puts more pressure on Amorim because the prize is there. I mean, it was there last season against bloody Tottenham, for the love of God. But it's European football is an absolute must, and ideally Europa League because the Conference League brings you gate receipts, but that's about it. There's not much prize money.
Just even being in it is a fucking humiliation.
It is, yeah, because you're playing Moldova on a Friday night.
There's some amazing away trips. So,
yeah. What did you make of the first round of the Champions League games? Watch much of that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, the whole thing just feels a bit contrived, as in, you've got these games and they're quite entertaining, but so fucking what? What does it actually mean?
Doesn't mean
Liverpool
anything to
score a last-minute win against Atletico, but if they don't, then what? Nothing.
Yeah.
So you
the jeopardy doesn't come until round 7 and 8, basically. Yeah. So yeah, it is much more like a league and compressed into 8 games rather than 38 games. But yeah.
And last year it was a new system, so I felt like perhaps that it was semi-exciting at the end. But I think that the best teams won't find themselves in that situation again, where City have to beat Bruges or whatever. And I think they were 1-0 down in that as well. But that was actually quite. I remember I watched that game for work, and City had to have to beat Bruges to qualify in the last game. I don't think we're going to see that again. And it's just it's like it works from the sense that you get the big clubs, the best teams playing each other more often, but it feels meaningless.
Yeah, I watched the Barcelona-Newcastle game, which was kind of fun. Marcus Rashford scored a couple of goals. Not started a lot of games for Barcelona yet. We'll see.
And people are kind of saying, well, that just goes to show. And it's just, no, it doesn't go to show. No one who wanted him out of United is saying this guy can't play football.
Yeah.
Or at least, maybe there probably are people that thought that, but they'd just be idiots. Like, if you've watched Marcus Rashford play football, you know that he can play football.
Yeah.
The problem with Marcus Rashford was stuff that we're not fully informed about, but Ruben Amorim knows he can play football. He said it, that he would like to be able to pick him. And whatever went on, we know that it was enough for the manager to say, I can't select you, even though the manager knew that his team needed fit and firing Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, I think he would struggle to get in the team now, just to the system. I guess he'd have a Bumo type role, the player that tries to stretch it rather than carry it, the Cunha type role. But I mean, my point really wasn't like relitigating Rashford. It's more like he scored a couple of goals. It was fun. He seems happy and revitalised. Yeah, Flick's incredibly complimentary about him. He seems to have settled in well. So
he needed to get out of Manchester. He needed to get out of United. He needed to get away from United. Like, we drag people down, and he has suffered a lot. Obviously, so I don't like to almost term it suffering relative to what's going on in the world, but for a professional sportsman, he was let down by his hometown club that he never wanted to leave, and then he let us down, I think, in return, probably, with his application. But it would never have got to that had the club looked after itself and him in the proper manner. And so when I see him do well when he's left United, it's like, go on. I'm pleased for him, because I know that he didn't want it to come to this. I don't bear him any ill will. He gave us... Imagine the Marcus Rashford period at United without Marcus Rashford. And
yeah, it'd been even more dreadful.
Even grimmer than it was. And he was instrumental in us beating City at Wembley to win the FA Cup. So, yeah, I can't... Yeah. So I'm happy to see him do well. It doesn't make me think, I wish he was still at United. It was a mistake, because it wasn't.
Other ex-United players, or I guess Højlund's still a United player. They got battered by City. Napoli did. There's more to come from them, but Højlund
I'll tell you what I did enjoy. Yeah, so I was watching that game. I think you were watching Newcastle Barcelona, but I think what I enjoyed in that game was when Di Lorenzo gets a red card after about 10 minutes, and Conte hooks De Bruyne.
Yeah.
That gave me some enjoyment.
Ginger fucker, he is. Yeah. I watched some of the Madrid game the day before as well. I mean, I don't know. I guess passively watching the Champions League, I don't know whether hate watching it because United should be in there, but it's sort of entertaining.
There is part of
I
that.
guess.
Like sometimes when I'm live blogging a game and City or Liverpool have won the league, and you don't want to say Liverpool or City again because you said it in the sentence before or earlier in that sentence, and I find myself typing the champions. And while I'm doing it, I'm saying to myself, you fucking deserve having to do this. Do you know what I mean? It's like, initially I wouldn't do it. I'm thinking I shouldn't do this. It's just wrong. It doesn't feel right. And then it's just like, no. Like, this is your job, number one. And number two, like, yeah, you have to suffer for this. And that is
they really
part
do.
of my suffering. Pray for me.
Ruben says he suffers more than the fans. I don't think he does. Sorry, mate.
It depends, I'd say. I bet he's lost more hours of sleep over United being shit than we have.
I'm sure, yeah.
And the personal nature of the abuse. Yeah, I mean, I think he is suffering. I just think he has a sweetener subsequently that we don't have.
Yeah. Yeah, we all deserve millions of pounds of payoff for the pain and suffering we've had over the last decade. So yeah, so Jim,
it'll be embarrassing for him. It's embarrassing when you fuck up at work. We've all done it, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Normally it's moments rather than months on end. I don't know whether I've been absolutely dreadful in any job, but yeah, you never know.
I was a lawyer,
I'm like, just give me time, Gaffer. Give me time. I'll get it right.
When I was a lawyer, I was the worst trainee solicitor ever, obviously, and I go and sit in my appraisal for property, and my supervisor's given me the bottom mark for everything, including robustness in accepting criticism. So I query it.
Yeah,
not any of the other stuff.
Just approve it.
I just say, like, I don't understand why you've given me the bottom mark for robustness in accepting criticism. You've criticised me a lot, and I think I've been robust in handling it. And then she goes, no, Daniel. I thought about every category very, very carefully. So I said, okay, how come then that if you look at the boxes that you've ticked every single one for the bottom mark, why is there a vertical line linking all the ticks that shows you've literally just gone... Yeah, exactly. Case closed, Colombo.
Well done. You moral victory for you there, Daniel. All right, we've got Brentford quickly before we go next week away. Brentford aren't very good at the moment. This is an opportunity to get back-to-back wins in the Premier League. He's not done it yet.
Yeah, and it'll be another Maguire, I'm sure, because Brentford are good. Like Keith Andrews was the set pieces coach. They're good at set pieces, and they'll make it a tough physical game, which United now better at withstanding that. And the question will be whether they've got the calmness, I think, to impose class, and whether they can score.
Yeah.
Yesterday, for example, which we haven't talked about this yet, so I'll just mention it now, is that it wasn't so much actually that these cunts don't know how to score as bad decision making in the final third, where they'd have two men, like man on either side or two men over, and they wouldn't roll the obvious pass. So that also almost feels like a step forward. Obviously, City are better than Chelsea, I think, but in those positions against United weren't quite getting to that position against City. They were sort of fucking it up the pass before that position, and it felt like we were like an action, can't believe I'm calling it that, an action closer to goal this time, where it was really the crucial pass that they were fucking up once they'd opened it out, whereas against City they didn't seem to know how to open it out. So again, like I do think we're seeing minor incremental improvements. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but I want him to settle into something that is sustainable. And so
it's really hard to say there will be that kind of consistency because we haven't seen it at all. But so what? I mean, I agree that Brentford pretty physical, so Maguire and De Ligt will probably both play. I don't like that personally because it pushes De Ligt into those wide areas where he has to come into midfield. He's done all right at that. I wouldn't say he's brilliant. Yoro was really flourishing there. Amorim does seem to like a left-footed on the left side, so it doesn't feel like all three of them will play. We'll see there. The wing-back situation is a real concern. I think Dorgu had a very good pre-season. He's a great athlete. His decision-making and quality in the final third is dreadful. When Ahmad plays there, I just think I like the idea of it. Ahmad playing at wing-back, but he's in midfield positions where he doesn't make the best decisions rather than the instinctive stuff much closer to goal, where he's just better, you know. And it is kind of the macro of our summer transfer business that we took our two best players basically from last season, Bruno and Ahmad, and moved them further backwards. And I don't know if that took the team forward yet or not. You know, maybe it did.
Yeah, I think Mbeumo is a better player than Ahmad.
Mbeumo's great. He's the big positive from this season already. Right.
Yeah, and Ahmad, I mean, we talk about Ahmad like he's a child because he hasn't played for us that much, but he's 23.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been saying all along in here that I think what we've seen from him, we know he's good enough to be a squad player. Is he good enough to be a starter? Still not seen enough to say yes.
Still on the fence, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
So I'd say I'm on the fence. I'm not really. I'm no. Like we'll see.
But
I'm happy to change.
A wing back, right? So is his future at wing back or not? It's the major wing apart from central midfield. I mean, you look at that four across midfield yesterday of Dorgu, Bruno, Casemiro and Ahmad, right? That is not going to win many titles, is it? None of them would be in the team. But, I mean, Bruno's obviously incredible. You just moved him out of his best position because there is, like, the 3-4-3 doesn't really create a position for him. So, I mean, we'll see what they do. I much prefer him going attacking in those wing-back positions because at least it forces us to move up the pitch. And then I guess we might see Mbeumo, Cunha and Sesko finally all together for the full 90, will we?
And then if you've got Bruno, whose goal yesterday, by the way, was a Brian Robson goal. That when I saw that, and if he can start scoring those kind of goals, because those aren't really the kind of goals he gets or has been getting until now. So if he scores those kind of run timing, lunging goals, which is the classic Brian Robson goal, then that will be very helpful because it's a different kind. It's a different kind of goal that the team will then be able to score. Actually, Amorim sort of touched on that about him taking shots and arriving on the edge and whatever. So there is that, but yeah, he's not meant to be there. Like 100 goals in 200 games for a midfield player. It's good for a striker. Yeah, and he did get a lot of penalties in the early years. It's fair to say, but you still got
until Klopp complained about it. Yeah,
you've still got to score them. He was often involved in the winning of them as well. Yeah, just a brilliant footballer. And it was interesting actually that he was taken off at the end yesterday because he's someone who almost is never taken off, and you're kind of thinking, felt like I wanted him on the pitch. He just nearly scored, but then at the same time, is it the manager saying you do silly shit sometimes, mate? So go and sit at the side.
Yeah, but. Cobby on for him, didn't he? He got 4 minutes. He did fine. Yeah. I mean, you can go read my 2,500 words on Cobby Mania. I wrote my Substack last week at nqat.substack.com. Sign up if you want to pay me money to read a second newsletter each week. Sorry for the plug. Patreon.com/NQAT pod as well if you want to get our extra show. Me and Adam talked about that meeting between Ratcliffe and Ruben and what might have been said. What we'd like to say.
I mean, Ratcliffe, the state of him looked yesterday in his Ineos outfit was just horrible.
He's not a fashionista anyway, is he, Ratcliffe? But I'm glad he's suffering through it as well. Good. I did enjoy Fergie there calling for a red card. He's giving it. The referee, you know what would have been brilliant banter if the referee had actually gone up to him, pointed at him, given him a yellow, We'll have none of that, son.
Gazza got sent off for that once, I think.
He got sent off for picking a card, falling out of the ref's pocket and going off and jokingly booking the ref. Yeah, for Rangers, yeah. bizarre stuff. All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening or watching, everyone. Patreon.com/NQAT pod for the extras, or you can get that on Apple Podcasts.
Like us and subscribe.
Daniel is on the
YouTube.
socials. Subscribe on YouTube. Hit the fucking subscribe button.
Smash the
so we don't have
subscribe button. Annihilate the subscribe button.
Yeah, fuck it. 60% of you disappear every week, and we have to get new audience. That's why we say hit the subscribe button, because you'll see it. Thank you very much. Catch you next time.
Sarah.